Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Senior Kris. I apologize. My nose keeps itching. That's how you say my nose itching. That's how you say it in Italian Spanish. It's the same language, I think. That's what I frequently hear in North Korea. So we're gonna go. I don't know what I just said. So I've been drinking. All right. Let me go ahead and... God damn! Alright. This is my... It's Monday night. I've had a great night. I think I polished off a I don't know, 5 or 6 pack. It's just been a great night. This is video number 5 tonight. So, I'm eating pretzel nuggets. I'm drinking beer. I'm dipping them in cream cheese. I'm just having a blast. But this is what happened to Alexander's tomb. Now, this is part 2. If you haven't seen the other one, you probably should, because you're going to be just as annoyed as I was as to the... It was respect and a bit of disrespect. Not negative disrespect towards what they do with Alexander, but it's like they just... You know what? I take that back. It wasn't disrespect towards Alexander. It was trying to prop themselves up to make themselves seem like they were on his level. Just watch the video, you'll totally understand it. I forgot the guy's name. Begins with a P, but somehow starts with a T, and he's a scummy guy. So let's go. I almost ended the video. I've been drinking too much. So we're going to start the video right here. A video right now.
Go to thegreatcoursesplus.com today to start your free trial. In 30 BC, great change was coming to the city of Alexandria. The death of Cleopatra signalled the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty in Egypt, and the era of Roman Alexandria began. Just as it had first under Perdiccas and then under the Ptolemies, as Rome became the new owners of Alexander's body, the symbolic power of the conqueror's corpse changed once again. So how great was this transformation? And why did this body, one so central to Alexandrian life, later suddenly vanish without a trace? This is the story behind Alexander's body and his tomb. Alexander had always fascinated the Romans. Questions of who would have emerged victorious if Alexander had faced them in battle had dominated much scholarly thinking for centuries.
Was Rome a powerhouse back then? I don't know, so I'm just asking.
To some, he was a drunk and decadent megalomaniac. Yet to those Romans who desired power, he was an immortalized conqueror who epitomized world power, a man to admire and emulate. First Julius Caesar and then Augustus would visit Alexander's tomb to pay their respects. Augustus, according to one account, breaking off Alexander's nose by accident. Both neglected the nearby Ptolemaic tombs. In their eyes, only Alexander was worthy of admiration.
Good!
When asked whether he would like to see the bodies of the Ptolemies, Augustus replied, "I came to see a king, not a bunch of corpses."
Yes! Yes! I don't even think I came to see a king, not a bunch of wannabe kings.
The Romans showed contempt for the Ptolemaic link with Alexander. Some suggest that they even had the Ptolemaic tombs removed, thus severing the connection between the Ptolemies and Alexander.
That's what it deserved.
Other Roman emperors also visited Soma, among them Caligula, Vespasian, Titus and Hadrian.
Wow.
For them all, the body symbolized the zenith of power. Many would thus associate themselves with Alexander, some more obsessively than others. Caligula, for instance, looted Alexander's body of his breastplate. Yet no emperor was more fixated with Alexander than the crazed Caracalla, who believed he was Alexander reincarnated. So crazed was his belief that he called himself the Great Alexander and even equipped Macedonian levies as Alexander's infantrymen, arming them with deadly sarissæ and naming them Alexander's phalanx. It is not surprising that Caracalla was murdered soon after. As the crisis of the 3rd century raged, Alexandria would endure numerous riots, rebellions and sackings from various monarchs, among them the famous...
I apologize for asking again. Was the Macedonia people, were they demanding Alexander's body back to them? That's something that hasn't been brought up. And I'm sure it would have been ignored, but it hasn't been mentioned yet.
Palmyrene Queen Zenobia, as well as the emperors Aurelian and Diocletian. Yet the tomb survived. Mention of Alexander's tomb is sparse in this period. However, in 390 AD, another reference to Alexander's tomb emerges, this time by the pagan writer Libanius, who mentions Alexander's body being on display in Alexandria. Little did he know that his would be the last known written account mentioning Alexander's body in Alexandria. Within 10 years, all knowledge of the whereabouts of Alexander had disappeared. Around 400 AD, the Christian priest John Chrysostom went so far as to taunt the disappearance of this pagan body. Where, tell me, is Alexander's tomb? Alexander's body had vanished without a trace. So what likely happened? The answer, most likely, lies in the religious context of the late 4th century Alexandria. At the start of the 4th century, a new powerful force came to the city, one very different to those that had come before.
I can say they didn't shoot him into space.
Of emergency food bars so that you can be ready.
He's somewhere on
to
Earth.
Those that had come before, the followers of Christ. Jews and Christians had long lived in Alexandria as minor sects of the mainly pagan population. Yet by 330 AD, following the split of the Roman Empire in two, the Christian sect began to grow. Christian zealots soon appeared throughout the Eastern Roman Empire, on many occasions violently tearing down pagan buildings. Alexandria would not be spared this fervent zeal. In 391, the Eastern Roman Emperor Theodosius officially banned paganism throughout the empire. All symbols of paganism had to be eradicated. The Christians in Alexandria happily obliged, quickly destroying the pagan places of worship, most notably the Serapeum, the temple to Serapis. Many believe Alexander's tomb suffered a similar fate. Okay. To the early Christians, Alexander's tomb was more than just a monument. The pagans worshipped Alexander as a god, and his tomb had been a place of pagan worship for centuries. If left untouched, it could easily become a focal point for pagan resistance. It is likely that Alexander's tomb suffered a similar fate to the Serapeum in 391. As for the body itself, it was likely either buried underneath or smuggled away before the destruction could take place. No evidence has yet been found. Yet there is another possibility. The Christians did not always tear down pagan sites. Sometimes they simply converted these places into Christian churches. One theory put forward by Andrew Chugg suggests Alexander's tomb may have been converted into the Church of St. Mark, the founder of Christianity in Alexandria. This church is first mentioned in the 390s, at the same time we last hear of Alexander's body, and was also located in the centre of Alexandria. In some accounts, St. Mark's body was also mummified. Yet the story then gets even more interesting. In 828, Venetian traders smuggled a body, alleged to be Mark, out of the church. They then sailed back to Venice, whose patron saint was St. Mark. The body was placed in the Basilica of St. Mark, where it remains to this day. Could this be the final resting place of Alexander? Although this theory has flaws, it is fascinating to consider that Alexander's body may not be lost in Alexandria, but highly visible in the centre of Venice.
So the thought is that they grabbed the wrong body? Am I understanding that correctly?
Attempts to discover the whereabouts of Alexander's tomb have occurred since Muslim occupation of Alexandria from 640 onwards. To this day, sarcophagi are being uncovered, yet none so far have been proven to be that of Alexander.
And I know this is a stupid question, but they don't exactly have DNA testing to know that this is Alexander. Yeah. This is one of those things that even if you have the body, you don't know you have the body.
Despite this, there have been some interesting finds, one of which stands out above the rest. In 1798, the French Emperor Napoleon arrived in Alexandria at the start of his Egyptian campaign, and his men made a startling discovery. In a mosque courtyard, they discovered an ornate Egyptian sarcophagus claimed to be the empty sarcophagus of Alexander the Great. This sarcophagus soon fell into the hands of the British following their victory at Alexandria in 1801. Equally convinced it was the sarcophagus of Alexander, they took it to London to be displayed at the British Museum. Yet disappointment soon followed, as hieroglyphs then revealed it belonged to Nectanebo II. This is not to say that the sarcophagus had never housed Alexander's body, however. As mentioned at the beginning of our first video, for a time it is likely Ptolemy I had placed Alexander's body in the empty sarcophagus of Nectanebo II, as it was in this act that fabulous Egyptian tales of Alexander being the son of Nectanebo likely took root. It was in this coffin, for instance, that Ptolemy likely transported Alexander's body to Alexandria from Memphis before it was later replaced. Could this tomb, now on display in the British Museum, have once housed the mummified body of Alexander?
Possibly.
The story of Let
me see, this was before BC, so this is 80. So it's been at least 2000, let's say it's been 2022 years. What is the average length that, and I don't know, I know it said he was mummified. What would be the average length of time until bones disintegrated, just naturally? Because, I mean, you're talking about dust. Did it hold him? Probably, maybe. But I mean, it's just so long ago.
Alexander's body is one that fascinates archaeologists and historians to this day. And the hunt...
Can I just say, I'm sorry. Genghis Khan is someone I know that, you know, the burial they don't know and all that stuff. So he's resting very comfortably. I didn't realize Alexander the Great's tomb was like this. I figured that everyone knew where he was buried. So this is completely eye-opening to me. So I want to thank for the video.
Continues for the eternal conqueror's remains. Recently, another sarcophagus dating to Ptolemaic times was discovered in Alexandria. Perhaps this tomb will be the one. or perhaps Alexander's body is still out there, silently waiting to be discovered. When we create our videos, we often use the series of lectures called Cities of the Ancient World from Professor Stephen L. Tuck, provided by the sponsor of this video, the Great Courses Plus. This 24-part series...
This is it. I didn't realize it was such a mystery to Alexander's tomb. There's a part of me that really just... I feel sad. Because Alexander the Great, and like I said, Genghis Khan, whatever you're supposed to say. I understand. In their time, knowing where their graves was, they would have probably been pillaged, and the bodies would have been destroyed. You know. And I understand keeping that a secret. But something like this, you know, now we're forward, so that we don't have any issues with them. And to me, it's just sad, because these are people that, even if you don't like them, they are people that should be... They should be given a place where you can visit their tomb and look at them. Even not like the coffin or something like that. And just... You know, hey, look, the person that's in there did all of this, whether it was good or bad. I'm not saying he was great. I'm not saying he was terrible, but I will say that final speech. God damn, that was a good one. But you know, it's hit or miss. I understand that some people hate him and some people love him or like him. He's an interesting figure. He is an interesting figure, I'll say that for sure. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this here because it's just a sponsorship now. I've knocked out 5 videos. I've eaten some pretzels. I've drank some beer. Let me go ahead and kill this. Okay. Alright. Been a good day. And we're going to go ahead and end this video now. But until I do, I just want to say, this is a good video. And yeah, it could be the alcohol talking. This is good. I wish we knew more. I really do. But nothing I can do. So until the next video, have a good day, have a good night.